So holidays are fast approaching, and maybe you are left with the task of buying a Nintendo Switch, buying games for it, and getting it all together for Christmas Day for maybe a friend, a significant other, your kids, maybe your parents, and you're not sure what to do. What do I buy? How do I get the system, and what do I need for it? Well, fortunately for you, you're talking to the monthly employee of the month at my old store. Sure, I was running it. That had nothing to do with why I was employee of the month because, okay, yeah, probably did. But either way, I helped a lot of people back in the day work up to things like the PS3, the 360, even the PS4, Xbox One, and everything. So I know what you guys need for the Switch, how to present it, and we'll make sure you can get to Christmas Day with everything you need so that your kids or whoever else is happy. Now, if you are a kid and you're trying to get your parents or your grandparents or whoever to buy a Switch to get everything together, show them this video because I'm going to help them buy you a Switch. So the first thing you need to do, you need to get a Switch. That seems pretty obvious, right? You need a system. Now, it was more difficult back in the summertime to get one. They were very scarce, very hard to find, but now it's a little easier. See, Nintendo is shipping more than ever out to stores to try to meet holiday demand, but it's still not going to be easy, and I recommend buying sooner than later because these are not going to go on sale at all. The $300 price tag, that's what you're going to pay if you're lucky, because if you have to start going to things like Craigslist, you're going to start paying a premium for an item that should be $300 and not $400 like they'll try to charge you. So how do we do this? Well, I recommend if you're near a Walmart, if you're near a Target, stop by there every day, every other day, maybe ask the people in electronics, hey, when are the Switches coming? You know, because they're going to start getting maybe 1 to 2 shipments per week. Another great tool that people have used extensively now for the past, 2 years or so is a site called brickseek.com. What you do is you go there, you put your zip code in, and it will search different stores around you, specifically Walmart's, Target's, and I think Toys R Us. I know Walmart and Target are big contributors there in terms of information. So you go on there, usually check around 6 p.m. the night before you want to go out. So if you're going out Wednesday, check Tuesday night around 6 p.m. and just double check to see if they have anything in stock, because a lot of times that will be in stock overnight and then it goes out on the shelf the next day, or they just have it in stock that day and you can go get it. But definitely check that site regularly, like daily, and then eventually you should be able to get a Switch without any issues. Now, the other good news is there's really only one model of the Switch right now. We've had this issue before with things like the Wii U from Nintendo, for example. The 360 was a nightmare because there were hard drives and all this stuff everywhere. The arcade model, the Pro, you don't have to worry about any of that. There is one model of the Switch. I don't even recommend getting a bundle, to be honest. I mean, you can, but you save no money. And like the Mario bundle still is the cost of the Mario Odyssey, the system, and then a carrying case. So you can't really pick any of those things. I just recommend getting the base model, $300. So you have your Switch, and maybe you're trying to figure out, do I need extra controllers because there are, 2 or 3 kids that are going to be playing this, or maybe there's a bunch of people who are going to come over regularly and play different party games. Well, that depends. See, the system has 2 controllers built into the box, which is great. So it actually comes with those 2 Joy-Con controllers on the side of the Switch. But if you need multiple ones, it makes sense to buy a pair of Joy-Cons, so one packaged pair, and that'll give you another 2 controllers because they become single controllers, or you can use them together. And that way you can have up to 4 people playing. Now, if money's no issue, look into the Pro controller. While that's $70 per head then, it still gives you a better experience. But if you're on a little bit of a budget and you have 4 kids or maybe 3 extra friends are going to be playing this with you, just get another pair of Joy-Cons for $80 and you're pretty much set, and then get Pro controllers down the line as you need them. Now, one other thing you're going to want to look at before going into games, you're going to want to look into an SD card, okay? This is almost like how back in the day, in the 90s, you would get a Game Boy for someone, but there were no batteries there on Christmas Day, right? Generally, we would buy batteries, they would go with whatever system, whatever toy, and that way they can use it on Christmas Day. There are some games that need an SD card, a micro SD card, and this might get a little complicated for some. So what I'm going to do is I'll leave a link down in the description to a Best Buy SD card, a SanDisk one, a 128 gig. It'll be fine. You get that. You don't need anything else in terms of space for a while, but you do want a micro SD card for certain games. In fact, if they're into sports like NBA, for example, you need an SD card. If they're into horror games, you're getting Resident Evil, you need an SD card because the download size exceeds what is actually available on the Switch. So look into that because it's going to be a bad Christmas Day if you get there, they need an SD card, and then it goes into this whole thing that I remember where they're like, what do you want me to do? The store's closed. What am I supposed to do here? So you got the Switch, you got an SD card, you got the controller, right? You're done, right? Well, as my friend Zero would say, it's not over yet. Not even close, because now you're getting into the games. And this is where things can get a little muddy for the parents, for the people buying, because maybe they don't have a lot of experience with it. Well, here's the good news, okay? You really can't go wrong with a lot of the first-party titles. You got your basics. You got Mario, right? You got Zelda. Even Splatoon. I'll throw Splatoon in there. You can get Mario Odyssey. Solid game if they enjoy platforming. If they're a big Zelda fan, get them Zelda. Like Breath of the Wild will keep them busy for a long time. Like seriously, it is a long game. Even Mario Odyssey, same deal. In fact, if you got both of those, and it's $120 for both, you'd be fine. That would be a great thing to start them out with on Christmas and then let them pick for themselves. Now, if they're sports fans, basketball works. That's pretty much the big one that is out there right now. NBA 2K18, that is one you need an SD card for. So if you're getting that, even physically, you need an SD card. If they're mostly first-party people, you're going to be okay if you got to save on that SD card. Just make sure you get everything physically, okay? Even the Mario bundle, though, comes with Mario as a code. So I recommend getting that SD card either way. But if you're into, say, horror games, there's Resident Evil. That one works well. But I still stand by the fact that you can get Mario Odyssey, you can get Zelda Breath of the Wild, you could get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right? And you're fine. They will love those games. They are great Nintendo-based games that you can't find on any other system, and really takes advantage of the system for what it is, a hybrid console. It's one that you can take with you, or you can hook up to your TV. Now, if you know that your friend is a big RPG fan, right, or even your kids or whoever you're buying for, they love RPGs, Xenoblade works really well. That's a very solid RPG if they like tactical-based games, kind of like an XCOM. Mario Rabbids, solid game. That's the good news about the Switch. Most of the first-party games, like I said, they're quality. You can't go wrong. Now, the other big part of the puzzle here that you don't have to worry about, I'm going to tell you now, is the eShop. And the reason you don't have to worry about it is because your job as the person buying this for them is not to download the game on their Switch. Your job is to provide a gift card. That's right. An eShop gift card can be bought at Walmart, Target, on those, those gondolas that have all of those gift cards on there. Generally, or even the electronics section, ask an associate, they can help you. Generally, there is a gift card that you can get for Nintendo platforms that will give them credits towards buying games on the eShop. And there are so many to list there. Even the retail games are sold on there. But if they're buying those, SD card, I'm going to tell you guys a couple times so you don't forget, SD card. You can get these games on the eShop, and something like a $20 eShop card, a $40 eShop card, makes a perfect stocking stuffer because that gets a ton of games since the Switch is getting several lower-priced indie titles. Indie titles are games made by smaller independent groups, and they generally tend to be cheaper than the large $60 games. But a lot of times they give you a better experience. Something like Golf Story, 10 bucks. Awesome game, right? And you can get away with this stuff. Stardew Valley is another great game. That $40, even that $20 gift card will go a long way. So why not throw one of those in their stocking just to help them out? And that's pretty much it. You should have your Switch. You should have one or two games picked out, an SD card even, and maybe a gift card. Honestly, that would be enough, I think, to get somebody started on Christmas, and they should really enjoy it if they're a Nintendo fan or they've been looking at the Switch and trying to get into it. It's really not a difficult thing to buy into since everything seems to come with the Switch in that box. Now, this is just a very quick guide for people who aren't as familiar with the Switch. I hope this helped you out. And honestly, if you're someone younger and you're trying to convince your parents to buy you a Switch, or maybe you have grandparents that are buying in, show them this video. This should help them out. Hopefully it should. They can get you a Switch and all this stuff, and hopefully it makes their lives easier too, because one of the worst things I could tell when parents or grandparents would go to the store, they looked so out of place, so confused, and really worried. Now, if I can give you a little bit of advice on some stuff to steer clear of on the Switch, the biggest one to steer clear of right now, I know it's been beaten to death, but WWE 2K18 is not a complete game. Really, don't buy it. It's going to be a bad experience on Christmas. I know, look, I know they might be wrestling fans, but they will not like it, and it's just not worth putting money into now. Maybe later if a patch comes out. So that's the biggest one at retail. I went to Walmart and looked in the glass myself, and I was like, yeah, that one. That's the biggest one to steer clear of. You should be okay with anything else, and if you're just not sure, stick to first party, like I said, and you will be fine. You will give them a great Christmas, and I think they'll really like what they get. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I hope this helped you guys out. I'll see you guys next time.